Hello and welcome back to the Huntsman corpse I forgot. In the meantime, between parts I managed to get back to this particular shack and open the door so we can talk to this fella, which was trapped inside. Let's hear what he has to say.
Praise be to
Who are you?
these skeletons.
Save points?
This guy has a very thick accent also.
You've set me free. Now I can
Well, it's
find
not
Do you know what
the-
accent it is? Since I can't, like, hear
Well,
audio.
okay, I forgot.
You won't know
Oh,
him.
I actually don't know. Like, it is relatively unknown to me.
I am
But it's probably a
quite
variation of British, nonetheless.
I travel from land to land.
Well, I will
to
check.
hone my
Is it actually called Crichton? I don't know if it might
this land was full
connected,
of danger.
so I don't know if it's like
thought soon
a
you'd
different
work with me.
subsidiary of Welsh or, you know,
I joined
or
forces
Irish.
with a man on the way.
Okay, who voices this Crichton fella?
Crichton of Mira? No,
Took
not
the first
Mira.
chance he had to try and off me.
But yeah, apparently
I
he
decided
was
to
with
set a trap for
someone
me.
who actually trapped him here. If only we knew someone who actually does that.
He's voiced by Joe
So
Sims,
dense.
whose only other video game credit is Bloodborne.
Yeah, a lot of the Dark Souls voice actors tend to stick with the other From
You be
Software
careful
games.
of him.
Yeah.
Oh,
As-
there we go. We got the name. Apparently, if you forgot one of the earlier parts, we met a guy who was called Pate. If you forgot, he actually tipped us in good direction and helped us defeat the Lost Giant. But apparently, this guy was actually trolled by Pate and actually locked inside here. So it seems that we have a situation where both characters are hiding something from us, and they have a grudge against each other. Who knows if this will actually be reprised?
Oh, Joe Sims was in a Red Dwarf episode in 2017.
A lot of the voice actors are British on their own, so yeah.
I think they all are.
I'll find
It's
the
in one
clues
of
that
what's
take
considered one of the worst
me
episodes of the
into
show.
roguery.
Goody.
Time Wave.
And we can
Right.
also learn a gesture from him, the fist pump. Cool.
You play the guy who's
I'll find
who can't help but tut at things.
Okay. Oh, I think
Teach
you
us to dab.
I think you told me about that guy with that particular character.
I don't.
You did talk to me about a couple of Red Dwarf episodes on commentary. But anyway, for the time being, let's continue where we had left off. So in the meantime, Dwaves, go on with what you want to say potentially.
So I've been watching wrestling, well, WWE specifically lately, mainly because I wanted to see what the product was like now that Vince McMahon, who was in charge of the company since 1982, retired back in July
Yeah.
after well, not just allegations of infidelity, but also some of that was related to that. He paid off his mistresses and didn't report it in the company financial reports.
Great.
So after all that controversy, and him coming out of it either unscathed or in a better position, the thing that does him in, he's pretty much now the
Al Capone.
yeah, like I said, it's pretty much Al Capone. What did him in was the tax evasion, and what did Vincent after all that stuff like the steroid trials and everything else was not reporting that he paid off mistresses.
Oh, got a bingo card of crimes there. Just as you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So since his retirement, on the financial side of things, the company's now run by both his daughter Stephanie and a guy named Nick Khan. On the creative side of things, the company is run by Triple H, a former
Yeah, I remember.
a former
hearing it.
legendary wrestler in his own right. And he had experience of running things before. He was in charge of NXT up till like 2021, and I have to say it is kind of a good story for him, considering around 2021 he suffered a massive heart problem,
Damn.
and he had to take some time off, obviously, to recover from it.
If I remember correctly, Triple H was also the one who played a character in Blade Trinity, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But since then, not only has he recovered from it, he's now, creatively at least, in charge of the biggest wrestling company in the world.
No pressure.
All that in the space of a year. And on screen, at least, we've been seeing a lot of effects of that. Wrestlers who lost their first names have gotten them back. Yes, that actually happened. Some back before he took over, wrestlers had a habit of having their first names dropped, so they're just called by their last name.
How random.
I mean, in some cases it makes sense. Like there's a guy with a insulting musician gimmick, and musicians often go by one name. So that makes sense. It's called Elias. But there are others who that doesn't make sense. There was a guy named Mustafa Ali, but he lost his first name. He was just billed as Ali.
Oh, so wasn't like I can't, aside from the more obvious like John Cena, I swear I can't remember other people who, you know, kept their first name.
Well, I mean, that whole losing first name things is now a thing of the past.
Yeah, well, it still feels weird as a rule.
Also, also, I mean, one thing I was personally glad about is that enjoy NXT or person, but I didn't want the whole product to be like that. You know, like Raw and SmackDown, they're the bigger, flashier shows. And I did appreciate they didn't just try and make those NXT, but bigger. No, they kept their own bigger, brasher identities while also just being a more coherent product. Well, obviously, he's reverting NXT back to how it was, but they got... Well, basically, NXT was known for being the black and gold brand, but like a year ago this month, funnily enough, NXT dropped that, since that was put under more of the control of Vince McMahon, and turned it into this weird multicolored branding, and it was called NXT 2.0 for some reason. Lately they've dropped the 2.0 and they brought the gold back. Basically, overall, the product quality has been much improved. And main event ending aside, on the subject of well, Theory to an extent actually, ending to the main event aside to an extent, the recent big WWE show they held in Cardiff was a lot of fun.
Right, I think I remember hearing like a promo of it, but did they ever use a castle for it?
Yeah, it's called Clash of the Castle, and because you're Cardiff Castle, it wasn't actually at the castle; it was at the Millennium Stadium, which was like a 5-minute walk away. And it was the first major wrestling show that wasn't just like a Raw or SmackDown recording or a live event, where it's just wrestlers performing for a group of people and nothing else. It was the first time that's happened since SummerSlam 30 years before.
Damn.
Back at Wembley Stadium, and apparently I wanted to go, but unfortunately for one reason or another I just couldn't. But apparently the show was enough of a success that they're planning on doing another one of those,
cool.
albeit in a different city. And if it's nearer to me, I'd go see it. Although the question is, where though? I mean, they've already done Wembley for SummerSlam, and I don't know if there are any... Well, I mean, there are some bigger stadiums that WWE likes to go to, like, I mean, aside from Wembley, I think another close one might be Twickenham.
You're talking to someone who doesn't know any of these terms, so I cannot really give you much of an opinion.
Well, I mean, I did explain it, but you talked over it.
Sorry.
Twickenham, Twickenham's basically the home of English rugby.
There we go. Also put the light here. But anyway, you might have noticed also a new enemy type, the Necromancer. Yes, those fuckers are back, although in a different form than in the first game, and they're just as annoying. Because, holy shit, they keep also doing the shtick of reviving the skeletons indefinitely until you kill them, but in this case they are now placed conveniently near particular vases or pots that give you curse. Curse works a little differently in this game. I don't think I mentioned it, but if it keeps being built up, you, instead of actually dying immediately, will actually receive a penalty onto your health, almost as if it counts as if you died once, you know, which prevents you from summoning. It gets very annoying very fast because it keeps building up. It doesn't just, you know, stay put there. So yeah, not exactly the best thing ever. But well, you can argue it might be you know, an improvement from the first game in some kind of way. I don't know. And also, they love to spam these particular homing projectiles. Let this be a precursor for a later dungeon.
Sounds terrible.
Well, speaking of terrible, recently I beat Mega Man X7.
I only know about X6 being
X6
big one that people talk about.
I think is okay. X6 and X7 are two different flavors of potentially being bad, but X6 is a bit more enjoyable to be played in a way. It just suffers from a very faulty translation and very frustrating gameplay.
X7's main issue is that well,
okay, now the story itself is not bad, but the voice acting is just awful.
Yeah, it says something when you manage to be worse than X4. I mean, not that X4 is magically
X4 tried.
Not that X4 has magically good voice acting all of a sudden. Like, you will never convince me that. I don't think anyone has been convinced that that voice suited X. Seriously, they literally just took whoever voiced Mega Man in Mega Man 8 and had her voice X.
There you go.
So, in general, the X series just hasn't really had the greatest run.
Well, I mean, I'd argue at least ended
on a higher note, on a positive note at least.
With X8, basically, okay, not to degrade this particular voice acting pool. But the best you can get for the pool of voice actors that speak English but are based in Japan is when they're doing over-the-top things in the first place, like say Super Mario Man R for a more recent example. Mm-hmm. But for X7, no. I mean, X sounds like a whiny child when he doesn't sound robotic, even more so than the robot's supposed to be in this series. Zero sounds like he'd rather be anywhere else. Axel is just annoying. Okay. To be fair, Zero's not the worst when it comes to sounding bored. I think Cygnus is worse at that.
Sigma. Okay.
No, Cygnus, the
right,
guy,
the rank that looks like the colonel.
Yeah, the commander of the Repla Force.
Hey, look at that! We can also summon Kraton. That's usually because we're having a boss.
Not Repla Force. Sorry, I mean.
I get it. The force, the task force post 4 from 5 onward.
Yeah, which is baffling because he also voiced Alucard in Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
If I had to be I know that he has a lot of fans, that particular voice, but if I had to be kind of blunt, it never really fit much of the character, if I had to ask. I much prefer Yuri Lowenthal. I know, it's heresy, I know that, but I don't know, I don't think Alucard can think that kind of particular deep baritone, and it seems well that he has its fans, because Iga brought him back for Blood's Day Ritual of the Night. But anyway, let's have our boss fight if Kraton can actually get behind me. There you go. This is actually one of the easiest bosses, so if I actually die here, yeah, to blame me for that. The Skeleton Lords.
X8 was done by the Canadian group that did the original Double Dragon Ball.
The Canadian one?
Yeah.
The Ocean, I think?
Well, it's called Blue Water Studios, but I'm not sure if they were renamed.
Does it have
in
Paul...
the interim.
what's it called? The guy who voiced Vegeta, Paul Tramlon, I think? Paul Dobson, no, the guy who voiced that one instead voiced stuff with people like Doctor Doom. There we go. Okay, the gimmick. I need to mention the gimmick with the skeleton nose is that each time one of them dies, there you go, he gets to summon a bunch of skeletons, including the fucking skeletal wheels. Because of course, so prioritize your targets, folks.
Skeleton wheel.
If you forgot, Shiri, we did meta those fuckers in the first game. They are very annoying. Kraton thankfully is offering himself as a bait for the Lord. So basically the strategy is defeat one of the Lord per per time, and then defeat the minions as we arise. Come on, get out. There we go.
And hey, Capcom's now going to continue their long-standing relationship with Canada, because in the upcoming in the Battle Network Legacy Collection, for the basically what they announced for it is that in the menu you get Mega Man as a as like your companion when you're picking like how it is in the series. And they actually got back
his NT-Warrior voice actor.
His NT-Warrior voice actor for it, as well as the Japanese equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
Which to someone like me, whose first exposure to Mega Man
was that.
Andrew Francis, by the way, was that. Yeah, I have to say, thank you very much for that, Capcom.
It's alright. There's a cute Easter egg. Like, it doesn't really affect me because they probably won't get the same voice actor that they used for my country's dub. Fuck, I'm in a terrible spot right now.
Because NT Warrior or Rockman EXE, depending on what country you're from, it had so many dubs, it was going to be impossible to do that. So I guess the best compromise was just to get the English and Japanese one.
And Capcom has a weird schizophrenic way of what they decide to dub or not. They mostly stick to still multi-file translation, I don't mind that, but sometimes they dub stuff, sometimes they do not. Like the Devil May Cry games, normally they don't, but for the reboot done by Ninja Theory, they did, and it's kind of bad too, except for when Dante became playable in PlayStation Stars Battle Royale, they did not actually dub it over there. So I don't know what happened there. Fuck, and now Kraton is dead and I'm surrounded by skeletons. The horror.
I've also been playing...
I broke my sword. Fuck me.
I've also been trying to play the Zero games.
Those are very difficult mode whips, even with Rookie Hunter mode.
Yeah, basically the most recent collection, 0/ZX, it puts it in a couple of modes where you can make the difficulty easier.
But zeros are still difficult on their own.
Yeah, I mean, I did manage to beat a couple of levels in the first one, but it is still quite the challenge.
My God. Okay, that's it. No, that's it. I'm picking a shitty weapon just so we even have more of a fighting chance. Go on, James, sorry.
And I seem to be cursed when it comes to straight up 2D games.
Why?
I don't know. Is it because of... I'm not sure if it's because of my... I'm not sure if because I have poor depth perception, or I can't judge distances properly. But I always seem to overshoot or undershoot things when I'm playing straight up 2D games. If I'm playing 2.5D, I'm better at it.
It's more of a problem for me in 3D because you kind of need the depth perception for that one.
Yeah, which is why I'm planning on when we get to do the X series. I've been planning on doing X7 and X8. And also to spare, because I mean, I think for the most part, Jova's doing the rest of them. I'm mainly doing this also to spare Jova's sanity.
Burn! Burn to the ground!
Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Burn!
Who actually is the voice actor of Flame Hineyard? I never actually bothered to check.
The same one who voiced X.
Oh, fuck. Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, Peter Von Gogh.
Anyway, there we go. Finally.
Out of the bone zone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. In the same game, he voices X as this really static, boring, whiny robot. He's the exact opposite extreme as Flame Ironheart.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever heard that happen. Two really big extremes in that manner.
Alright, let's get a read on that particular soul that you acquired. Soul
Can we
of
at
the
least steal their bones as weapons?
Sadly no. Soul of the Scandal Lord who reigned from the deep within the Huntsman's corpse. The Old Iron King commanded the capture of all undead, but those charged with the task were overcome by the curse. We might, again, boss souls tend to be used into getting, you know, like stuff like weapons beamed after the bosses, so there's that. However, what I really need now is a fucking bonfire. Nice job, Leo. A bonfire and, you know, some repair tools. Let's see where this place takes us.
Well, the one game I've been interested in, even though it's only Japan exclusive, have you guys heard of Super Adventure Rockman?
No.
By name.
Basically, apparently it's considered an interactive movie / rail shooter, and apparently it's set in the classic series. It tries to be a more darker story. Although I've heard it didn't turn out that well. I mean, hell, Keiji Inafune disowned the game and considered it one of the worst Mega Man games in the entire franchise.
Oh no, I think I know where we're heading now. Yeah, I think this is that. Oh man. So, we are out of the Bone Zone, Shiri, but we're about to get into the Poison Dungeon, the Harvest Valley.
When you say Poison Dungeon, do you mean like when you go in, your health starts to slowly drain until you get out?
Especially those particular pools, but before doing that, let's go back to Majula. So in the meantime, Shiri, do you have any particular updates to mention on your own?
I mean, since the last part and this one, we now have Splatoon 3.
I imagined you would have mentioned. No, go on.
Sunk many hours into it already, and beat story mode yesterday. Not quite sure what I experienced, but it was something. it was something.
Quite something.
Yeah.
How's the single player?
Oh, that would be the story mode. No, it was good. They basically did Octo expansion again, which is what people wanted. So
they had some minor bait and switch, but I will not, elaborate much because it is worth
the game
actually
is still new. Yeah,
and also it's worth experiencing on your skin.
I do like one thing they did do, which is like to keep it as vague as possible. There is another secret stage in the single player, and it's quite different from Octo expansions.
There we go.
It's like that of some other Nintendo games, which might give you a hint, actually.
Also, one of the boss fights also homages another Nintendo game.
And one of them homages a Sonic game.
Alright, let's whoosh the cape and get some level up. Especially because we're kinda not done with the Huntsman's corpse. Let's see, 3 levels, so let's put... yeah, endurance. There we go. Alright, let's go back sadly to the Huntsman corpse because we're not doing the poison dungeon today, thankfully. Unless we manage to save enough time because there's another boss that the Huntsman corpse tends to have, but we need to get to it first. And not even sure if we'll actually manage to, because it requires kind of a long trek, and it's not, something completely easy. So we'll see. There we go. Also, since we actually didn't comment on that, we might as well spend this time talk a bit about the Nintendo Direct and the State of Play that happened recently. I enjoyed both, to be honest.
Same.
As usual, a lot of Nintendo fans seem to be dreading the idea that there are JRPGs on the horizon for the console. Although the hot meme for this one was about instead farming, because there were like 4 different separate farming game announced, or that were about to receive updates. It's kind of hilarious.
I kind of feel like some Nintendo fans would be a lot happier if they had farming sims in their lives.
One thing I thought was kind of funny in regards to one particular bit of the Nintendo Direct. From what I could, okay, it was when they announced the Golden Eye.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
The one more thing for the Nintendo Switch Online program.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of funny how like Xbox announced like their version around the same, literally almost the same time.
Mm-hmm. Each version has their own particular beat. Like when it comes to the Nintendo one, you obviously, if I recall, you still have to purchase it even if you have like the online, if I recall correctly.
No, it's part of that Nintendo.
Similar to the one of the DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Okay. When it comes instead to the Xbox version, you actually can get it for free if you have Rare Replay. It gets kind of sort of as an update of that, which is pretty cool actually.
Or you could just get it for through Game Pass if you already have that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I love how one version has something over the other. The Xbox version is going to run better with your HD graphics, well, upscaled ones at least. But the Switch version is going to have online multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure what's up with that.
I only speculated off commentary.
Basically, we speculated that it might have something to do with maybe Nintendo had a better offer towards MGM and Neon.
Or at least we paid up for some exclusivity deal.
Yeah, because that's the thing with GoldenEye being re-released, they had to get the okay from a lot of other people. It has to be Nintendo. There's also got to be Xbox.
And in this case, it's more of a case of not just a third party, but also a movie company that has to give the okay to something.
Also MGM and Neon.
I love this particular shot. Give me a second. You came to the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker. Like, they literally just squatting up there like that. God, Liz.
You basically had to. This is to get the okay from a lot of people. I mean, that's why the first attempt for that 360 port didn't pan out, because Nintendo was just like, no. I mean, I think they own the game, kind of.
Sorta.
Yeah, but then things got complicated. Things have been really complicated since then. Rare's owned by Microsoft now.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to get the okay through that, and then they had to jump through all these other hurdles. Plus, I can't imagine. Didn't they also have to get the okay from the likes of Pierce Brosnan and all that?
Potentially, or at least some kind of actor's likeness in some kind of fashion. I mean, in that game you fight people like Jaws or Alec Trevelyan.
Yeah, and Oddjob. Yeah, it's kind of okay, and I think I'm the only one out of the entire group that has the expansion thing for Switch Online. Otherwise, I've played it with everybody.
I still don't have a Switch to this very day.
Do you not have? You have a Switch?
No, I do not.
No. I know Shiori does, but I take it she doesn't have the. Do you not have the expansion thing?
What, for Switch?
For Switch
the online.
Yeah, I haven't really had a reason to get it.
It's very understandable. It's still a very costly one, and the advantages that it provides are still relatively minimal.
I mean, it has been getting. Okay, I didn't get it at the start. So I basically got it since I had enough money saved up in my account plus some gold points to get it at a reduced price. And to be fair, it has been improving a lot, especially with its N64 offerings.
There's still just the underlying problem of the Nintendo backward catalog being on the Switch being still worse than the one that there was on the Wii U. Like, goddamn, talk about not managing to offer the same service despite having a better, having a better structure.
But come on, guys, we all know what the tipping point will be for the N64.
Buck Bumble.
No, Holy Magic Century.
You mean Quest 64? Alright, yeah, because naming different countries and everything.
Yeah,
but,
basically, yeah.
Who even owns that? It's a third party, I know, it's not Nintendo.
Let me look it up. Yeah, because I mean, why not? I mean, I think that was like the only JRPG on the system, wasn't it?
Majorly, yeah. At least one with the
West
Dot.
One of the few ones. It was published by different people. In Japan, it was published by its developer, Imagineer, who still exists.
If in that case, it's usually them who retains the IP.
In North America, it was THQ, and in Europe, it was Konami.
How random. But yeah, in this case, it's them who actually retain it, unless they have sold it to another one.
And as for names, in the US, it was called Quest 64. In Europe, Australia, New Zealand, it's called Holy Magic Century, and in Japan, it's called L-Tail Monsters.
I think, okay, I have to be honest, the name doesn't really reflect none of the name actually do reflect what's actually happening in the game, sadly. So any can work. Quest 64 has the whole branding, charm onto it, the fact that, every game was called with a 64 in its title, so it's pretty cool. So I'm fine with that. Holy Magic Century is a cool name on its own, so I don't have a problem with that. The Japanese one, it's a bit
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it myself since I only had an N64 for a little bit.
Pro Jared is a good review about it, admittedly. It talks about the pros and cons of the game and how it's very tedious overall. And the story, it's very generic.
I also don't remember really liking the music a whole lot.
I don't remember the music, to be honest.
I mean, it's from a guy... Ow. Anyway, before Teo...
Just waiting for the stream to catch up.
Yeah, well, I mean...
There we go.
The music was done by a guy named Masamichi Amano.
I heard that name.
Who's mainly done a lot of symphonies and orchestral stuff and wind bands events.
Windbags.
But as for soundtracks, the last anime he did was a thing called was an anime called Sensitive Pornograph back in 2003.
What?
It's a
interesting name.
it's a yaoi OVA.
Oh.
And in terms of video games, he's done such classics as Radiant Silvergun.
That's a great one, actually, a good shooter. He's receiving a Switch port recently, thanks to Nintendo Direct.
Onimusha 3.
The one with Jean Reno. Yes, really, we use the likeness of Jean Reno for a video game like that.
Phantasy Star Universe.
It's alright, nothing too special, but alright.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Which one?
Sure, why not?
And Infinite Space.
Platinum Games title for Nintendo DS, and a very hard one at that.
Which Mario and Sonic game?
The first one.
Okay.
On a slightly related-ish note, we still don't have dates for the Sonic Symphony tour, by the way, that's supposed to be starting literally next month.
Maybe got.
Also, okay, but that was also mostly for the... Also, another thing, Bandai Namco continues to showcase good faith in, you know, porting stuff, and when we are having a more proper console port of the first Tales of Symphonia. Mind you, it's not the most perfect kind of port, because it's still running it locked at 30 FPS, and the PC version, as far as I know, hasn't been fixed yet, unfortunately, so we'll have to deal with that, but at least there's an intent, I can say that.
One of the Nintendo Direct things of note have there been.
Square Enix pumping a lot of stuff, like the Front Missions remakes, or again Harvestella, one of the farming clones, or there was also another new IP that I mentioned. I think it's there where they announced also Octopath Traveler 2, I think.
Yeah, there's also this. There's also this sequel to some series called Zelda, but you know,
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Pikmin 4.
Yeah, a lot of people were waiting for that, so I guess Arlo will be happy, finally.
Yeah. We've also got the Aquafresh video game.
It's also a bit sad that because of unfortunate still real-life event, we still don't know the new date of release for the Advance Wars remake, the one that Way Forward was doing.
Yeah. So yeah, the Aquafresh mascot video game. It's Fire Emblem Engage.
Ah, right. I think Aquafresh is supposed to be a brand of toothpaste.
Yeah, so I was referring to.
Well, I don't know. I had to guess.
red and blue are the.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually complaining and saying that it's probably the worst Fire Emblem protagonist design in a long while. I kind of agree. It's not okay. The outfit is fine, but it's just the hair style and color that is just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Did they get in a? Did they have blue hair originally, but got in a tomato ketchup fight?
That's the thing. Usually, Fire Emblem protagonists do have blue hair because Marth had it, so it's canonicity.
And Marth is in this game.
Yeah, because they're using a gimmick similar to the one of Fire Emblem Heroes of summoning old heroes from ancient times and everything.
Yeah.
Well, now they have red hair, I guess.
There's also Octopath Traveler 2.
I did mention it. Again, it's interesting. Square Enix is having like a gajillion titles being released in quick succession.
Yeah. Story of Seasons. I mean, I don't play those, but I mean, the closest I've been to those is I played a demo of the Doraemon game. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. This is a
My
fatality.
condolences.
I'll be sure to make notice of that as I plummet into my doom.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you've fallen to your death, I'm so sorry.
I mean, nothing I can do about
It's
it.
like that. It's like that meme format of the guy drowning and the one who saves him just
With a
high
high
fives.
five.
Yeah. Like, thanks.
There's Tales of Symphonia.
I mentioned that, Wibs.
Yeah. It's a bit odd. Did they already remaster that?
For the PS3, along with as a collection, along with Dawn of the New World, the sequel. But for some reason, the sequel is not included in this one. But and like I said, the PC version still hasn't been fixed, so that's kind of iffy. Especially because Bandai Namco has become better with ports on the PC, but they didn't want to touch that unless it's a future, update that they're gonna mention. I hope so.
There's also Project Zero,
aka Fatal Frame for the Americans.
Yeah.
It's
what
based
was
on
the
the
story?
Wii. It's based on a Wii game that I think Suda51 worked on and was never localized.
Yeah, well now it is being like, okay, I never understood that. What's the story with the different names?
Project Zero is the Japanese title. Fatal Frame just was the name America chose, and probably because of a whole, you make photos, so it's a Fatal Frame.
Well, it's called just Zero. In Japan, Europe just added the word project to it.
Okay, Ben, I don't know why the project, because most of the games revolve around cults performing rituals that go wrong, and as such ghosts that yokais that get summoned as a result. So it's not necessarily just like a project that gets unfolded.
Why? I mean, it's not, maybe it's a horror game, so maybe the 0 refers to the amount of limbs you'll have by the end.
Ooh, not really.
There's also some ports of more recent games to the Switch, such as It Takes Two.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it that was pretty much the biggest stuff for the Nintendo One. Again, some stuff I think should have been reserved for either the PlayStation State of Play or the Xbox Live Showcase, because some stuff did deserve to, you know, be showcased there. Like, I would have been fine if the Tales of Symphonia port was actually showcased. I know that the original was a GameCube release, so it makes more sense for Nintendo to actually show it, but...
Was it over PS2?
An updated version that only Japan got, which is this version because it had more content onto it, but the trade-off is that it's locked at 30 FPS.
I don't know what went on in the State of Play at all.
A lot of stuff.
I didn't even know there was one, if I'm going to be honest.
I thought it was solid.
Yeah, they did showcase a couple of new stuff, like the Team Ninja of Tecmo Koei is making an entire new IP for Sony apparently, which them are publishing, which is yet another Japan historical game, which is, okay, I know it's been a long while, Shirei, but I don't know if you remember the History of Japan video from Billboards.
No.
Oh, you should. It's good, fast-paced comedy.
Okay.
There's essentially a bit we talk about Japan, and for a long while the country was closed for, you know, due to reason tied to the shogunate. But at some point, of course, the United States just had to come around, as people said, with huge boats with guns, gunboats, and basically told them in their face, open the country or we're open fire.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's literally a trope here. It's literally called gunboat diplomacy. Apparently that was a thing for centuries. But yes, and apparently this game is set around that period. You played as a Ronin. I think it's called Rise of a Ronin because of that. But you play as a Ronin during the time America was starting to actually have some minor bases, you know, in the place. And as such, you have to, well, do stuff. Like, I think it's about unfolding a conspiracy potentially, but it's never particularly clear about that.
There's also how it kicked off actually.
Yeah,
Tekken 8.
Right. Yeah, that's actually the thing. I'll need to ask Dej about this because he knows better about it. But I swear I remember there was a recent interview with Katsuya Arada where he mentioned, yes, the next Tekken is in production, but it probably was gonna be a while before we knew stuff. So, like, we already have a trailer that Arada himself has told it's pretty much what the final game is going to look like, you know, in terms of matches. So, although I argue, Shiri, it's sadly not much for you because it's set in the middle of a fucking rainstorm and it's thundering every 2 seconds, so it's not very optimal.
We've also got some PSVR.
Sounds too much like one, to be honest.
We've also got some PSVR game. PSVR 2, I should
Not
say.
just that, Waves, I also want to mention something. The team of the Sega team of what's it called? The Ryuga Gotoku team, the Yakuza team, is now also porting Ishin, a game that they done for the PS3 and PS4, properly also for the West.
Because of Ghost of Tsushima's
yeah,
success,
apparently.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's kind of cool.
They also mentioning their own separate showcase. The fact that they're also making a couple of new titles. They're porting the Judgment duology on PC. That's cool. They're making properly Yakuza 8, which is now properly retitled Like a Dragon, like, you know, the original title is supposed to be.
That's the basically it was called Yakuza in the West for the longest time, but now it's going to be Like a Dragon internationally, not just Japan.
I'm fine with that. It's, you know, it's a bit late and it probably gives a bit of naming confusion, but, you know, it's more, you know, lenient and consistent with that, so I like it.
Yeah, it's like how round here with the Spyro Ignited trilogy, they the US name was kept for Spyro 2 all over, even though Gateway to Rim is a better name.
Also, I have no idea who this random red phantom is supposed to be. He just shows up. It's not even someone who gets summoned. It just shows up like that. Let me just back up a bit.
Oh yeah, they also unveiled some information about PlayStation Stars.
Yeah, it's very unforgettable, to be honest. And there's also, of course, we had to end with the trailer for another trailer for God of War Ragnarok with a pin controller to boot. Mostly because the game is about to come out, so...
Yeah, I mean, the game itself looks cool.
It's fine, although, again, Santa Monica did mention that it's the end of the Norse saga, but it gives me still the idea of just being in a middle piece instead of the final conclusion to the Norse saga. We'll have to see how it unfolds, because, I don't know. Odin is clearly the final boss in some kind of fashion, or at the very least the penultimate, unless there's a twist one. So he has to be part of the equation, but nowhere in the game gives the indication that you might get to him eventually. We'll see. The first one was, you know, bigger in scope enough that you can believe they actually have still a lot of locations to show, but who knows. Also, this guy's kicking my ass.
And that was really about it. I mean, I think both events were solid enough.
Oh my god.
Alright, and yeah, I think that red fig. Does it have a name?
No, I actually don't think so. If it is, it might be just a generic one, because usually red phantoms do have a names when they get someone like that, but this one is just a one that shows up. The red aura is tied to that specific covenant that is part of, which you can eventually join after beating the boss that he guards behind him. So it is still a bit weird.
Just call it a red phantom.
Red guy with a huge sword, yes.
Outside of the directs, we had some pretty interesting updates on Deltarune.
Mm-hmm.
Things.
Toby had mentioned what he's been up to this past year, yeah.
Yes.
With some screenshot to boot. And
some surprises in there that I did not expect, but I'm very happy about.
So. The best thing about it is that everyone started immediately simping again for Task Manager. I completely forgot that she had such a dedicated fan base.
Well, I'm guessing a lot of.
She's a cat woman with a whip, Tio. What did you expect?
Well, my I'm guessing the reason for both the slow Deltarune news and release schedule is that Toby Fox has been a really busy guy outside of that. He's been doing music for the more recent Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And apparently the upcoming one, Scarlet and Violet, is going to be doing a lot more than just the one track.
Not just that, Dweebs, there's also the fact that, you know, the next update is supposed to bring 3 chapters instead of just 1. So, although Toby did mention that most work on 3 and 4 is done, so they're mostly focusing on 5.
And 5 is going to start soonish, so, yeah.
And I'm thinking next year it probably is a good lineup, probably like a year from now.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually mention, we haven't actually talked about much in the way of Scarlet and Violet, and how it's going to be a bit different than previous games.
Calling
You're
it
going to be a bit like Arceus or Arceus, I'm not sure how you say it.
Also, calling it the old guy, the superintendent, whatever he is of the school, that's the main bad guy, like the team leader or something. He just reeks evil aura.
Well, I mean, having not played Arceus yet, I can't speak directly for that. Basically, in this one, unlike the other games, you can actually choose which story you want to do.
Mm-hmm. And also the order in which you can tackle the gyms.
Yeah, you don't, because it's an open world. And there's no borders between urban areas and the open forest.
I get the idea this might mean also that they're, you know, cutting away again the HMs in that kind of way.
Yeah, and you also get this mechanic called "Let's Go," where while you're in the field, you can just send out a Pokemon to automatically battle enemies for you.
Yeah.
I mean, now to be fair, it isn't tile. It's not like it's Final Fantasy 13 or anything.
My question is, why would, like, what would be a good reason for you to do that? Like, what applicability is there for it?
Grinding.
I suppose, potentially, but that was what's it called, the pension the two old guys were for.
Well, those are level EXP. Or as sometimes I read it as level exp. Yeah, I actually wonder what caused, because remember, the Switch era of Pokemon started with pretty much just how it's always been. You know, more linear stuff in Sword and Shield, but after that they took a really drastically change in direction.
Sword and Shield also had the problem of having one of the lamest stories actually. Like, it had some cool ideas, like again the champion being much more on the center front, the whole idea of the sponsors, the gyms being treated like stadiums, giving you a challenge and everything. But when it comes to the main stories, how the legendaries are integrated, how the team is integrated, how the villain, quote-unquote, is integrated, it's lame. It's really lame. And the best thing about it is that Pokemon Masters X is currently having a set of chapters dedicated to the various generations villains. And that one, from Gen 8, is also present there. So I really want to see what that person can actually bring to the table, considering how much of a pathetic wimp he kinda is.
Although one thing I can say about Legends Arceus is that I have heard the music.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different.
The one where you actually confront Arceus himself is just completely hysterical. Like, it starts like if you don't have any experience with Generation 4, you know that his normal battle theme is already kind of nerve-wracking, but they find somehow a way to make it even more tense.
And also it's a lot more atmospheric compared to other Pokemon tracks. And it's not like they changed composing. No, Arceus, at least two of the same composers that have worked with the franchise for quite a while. Let me see who they were exactly.
Alright, that's pretty much it for this part. In the meantime, sorry, we'll leave you with this question open because this guy is kicking my ass. I'll try to see if I defeat him off screen, and the next part will probably start in front of a boss gate. After I'm done with it. So, until then, have a nice day, I guess. See ya.
See ya.
To answer the question, 3 composers. One of them I don't think I've ever heard of before, but the other 2, one has experience with the music dating back to like the very tail end of Gen 3, and the other one's been with the series since Gen 2.